Welcome to Orbital Decay, a 4-part mothership series done in conjunction with the amazing folks over at Stories and Lies. If you've never listened to us before, we are the Chaos Engine podcast, and we primarily focus on Delta Green, although we are going to be doing a Traveler series here in the near future. This arc story that we're going to tell with Stories and Lies is a perfect encapsulation of the two different styles of podcasts that we are. We here at the Chaos Engine podcast are a lot more friends at the table, loosey-goosey kind of style. We're serious, we joke probably more, but we still hit those serious notes, and I think we come across as a lot of fun. Stories and Lies is a much more intensely focused, heavily edited, sound effects, awesome podcast dealing with the 90s era of Delta Green. So if that sounds interesting to you, which it should, you should absolutely check them out. They are not only great people, it's a fantastic show, and yeah, well worth checking out. Like I said, if you haven't, you absolutely should. So yeah, this will probably be the only intro I do for these 4 sets of episodes. I want to put one out front as we kind of talk about it, introduce you to us, and you'll hear a couple different voices on the show. Primarily, there's going to be myself, Tyler and Jake. We are from the Chaos Engine podcast. And then Taylor and Matt are going to be from Stories and Lies joining us. So kind of help. You'll hear that as the intro to the first episode here. Other than that, I'm going to read off our Patreon folks here real quick who supported us. If you want to check us out on Patreon, there's a link in the show notes. Feel free to click on it. It's $3 a month. That's all we charge. It helps us get better equipment that we're going towards. So that's all I got. Let's run down that list. Here we go. We got Taylor, Geralrin, Miles, Randy, Yam, Colby, Thomas, Randy G, Laszlo, Hovo, Hovo, Jeremy, Ben, and Garth. Thank you guys again for your continued support of the show, and I hope you all enjoy this as much as we did recording it. Have fun.
Is this thing on? Janie was supposed to handle this, documentation, but well, she's no longer with us. So, let's begin. This is Dr. Holland. Date is 1908-77. Heltech Research Log 4-C. I'm working with subject TS7. It appears to be, about 18 centimeters long, red in color, multiple tendrils, 6 on this subject. It continues to move, which makes it somewhat difficult to measure. It has one large lamprey-like mouth at the base, which is just below where the tendrils attach. No eyes that I can detect. The nostrils are located at the top of its long body. There is some substance in its blood that is highly infectious, likely the unidentified virus that we are researching. The autopsy of Janie should give me more insight into how the virus actually progresses. Onset of the symptoms occurs almost immediately with contact of the skin. The infected begin to bleed from the eyes and mouth almost immediately. Skin lesions develop within 2 minutes. Death occurs within 3. Insufficient sample size to say for sure. I plan to extract what I can from this creature to further my studies. Little creature, we must determine how you can survive and thrive with this substance inside of you. The secret of your immunity is essential for my studies, and I appreciate your sacrifice for science. Now let's see what's so special about you.
Not since peanut butter met jelly has there been a cool enough crossover as what's about to happen right now.
I don't know. Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs is pretty good. Okay. Not since those two. We're going to be top 3. We are here with the folks from Stories and Lies. Well, two of them. We got Taylor and Matt joining myself, Tyler and Jake, to play a little game. How are you guys doing over on the eastern side of the country?
Hey, it's going pretty good over here.
Likewise, very hot, ready to get spooked.
Yeah, it's very hot over here, too.
Yeah, it's kind of miserable.
Yeah. I don't like it.
It's the exact opposite of the cold dark of space.
Well, speaking of the cold darkness of space, we are here to play a little game called Mothership. And I'm going to be running us through a little adventure. And if things go well, we might do a second adventure, because this is like a prequel to the adventure that the main adventure I'd like to run. But I thought maybe getting a little setup would be a good idea before we got into that one. So, let's go over the rules here real quick of Mothership, just real briefly. Make sure we're all on the same page. The system is a 0-0 through 99, so it's like your true roll is what your stat is. So if you roll a 0-0-0, it is not 100, it is 0 in this game. That's going to be the biggest change for everybody here from Delta Green. Yeah, you're going to have some saves. Eventually, you're going to roll against those saves. If you roll underneath it, the number or underneath it, congratulations, you win. You got skills. You're going to add those skills bonuses to whatever stat you roll. So if you want to try to use your dexterity with your lockpicking skill, you would add whatever you have for lockpicking onto your dexterity score, roll the D100 against that, and that's essentially how skills work. There's no set, like, you have to use them with a certain ability. You just tell me what combination you're going to do if it makes sense to the situation. I just might let you do it, or I'll have you roll if it's like a stressful situation. Sound good to everybody?
No, I just want to win every roll without rolling. Can I do that?
No.
Oh, all
Never.
right. Well, I have to ask.
So I know. I appreciate you asking. But cool. Well, let's hop into this little ditty of an adventure we got here. I got a long written out intro that I'm going to spit out here and hopefully not fuck up the words too bad.
Good luck.
Thank you. Let's all begin. We open up in orbit of a... Oh, see, I already fucked up. We open up in orbit above a small, dull gray planet, Tau Sigma 7. The surface of this planet is barren. There's large mountain ranges and gorges that kind of dot the landscape, just big old crevices. We see a ship. Your ship, the Pegasus, floating above a small impact crater on the surface. We hear the hiss of cryopods as they, open up. And we see you guys, the crew, start to wake from your dormant slumber. Your mission is a simple one. Although, we all know nothing is ever simple anymore. Especially in the line of work that you guys have. Nakatomi Solutions has sent you out to the uninteresting bit of space to recover a rare mineral that they detected beneath the surface of said impact crater you are currently above. So your mission is that. You are to find the deposit of NM-109, that's Nancy Mike 109, deposit said material into the Nakatomi Solution deposit box, and then you're going to head to Hard Light Station, and you're going to collect your creds. Pretty simple. Nothing could ever go wrong. Never. So we hear the sweet, calm voice come over the intercom of your guys' ship.
Wakey, wakey, sleepyheads. We've reached our destination, Tau Sigma 7, named after the Tau sector of space, originally discovered by explorers on the Vasquez expedition. Service team, load up and get to the dropship. Departure in 2 hours.
That's Lambert, the ship's computer. And you see that the lights are starting to turn on all over the ship. She's running diagnostics to make sure that everything is turning on. And we watch as all of you, your pods are slowly starting to open. You're stretching after your long slumbers. Everybody please describe what your character looks like as you are awakening from this long nap. How about we start with Taylor? We can make it easier.
Sure. So, am I saying my name too, or just the character's description?
I'll leave that up to you.
All right, I'll go for the name. So, my character is Algernon. He is a younger, sort of boyish-looking person with medium-length blonde hair and glasses, and not frail necessarily, but certainly on the thinner side. Doesn't look like he could necessarily hold his own in a fight.
Okay, I like it. Matt, how about you describe your character?
Sure. So Calvin 5 emerges from his pod, which wasn't actually active because he was powered down in it, since he's not human. He emerges from it, and it's obviously an android. It looks pretty human, but there's a couple of lines on the cheeks and everything that show that he's not. Somewhat tall, emerges out of the pod and already has a really nice, very, poster boy smile that is just plastered on his face. Somewhat tall, blonde hair, is already wearing his uniform ready to go. And as he emerges from the pod, he kind of begins making small chittering noises, or like trying to call a cat or some kind of animal.
Nice.
Yeah, and he looks around.
What kind of animal does he have?
Eventually, from somewhere in the ship, emerges a ferret that kind of climbs up his leg and nuzzles on his shoulder. He pets it a little bit, and his smile just does not budge. It's like it's drawn on his face.
What's his ferret's name?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think he called it Ferret.
That makes sense. Just making sure I write that down. Awesome, cool, I love it. Jake, Tyler, which one of you wants to go next?
Okay. My character's name is Skip. And he steps out of his pod and sort of, I think, immediately maybe grabs his stuff from like a cubby nearby. Mm-hmm. And he puts on like a dirty, grease-stained, like overalls, like a jumpsuit.
Like coveralls kind of thing?
Yeah, like a work jumpsuit or coveralls, with a little name tag that says Skip. And he, has a big Fu Manchu mustache and maybe like, chin length, like dirty brown hair. Nice. And he puts on like a kind of big trucker hat that just says, I heart jugs. And, he is very clearly here just for, just to do his time, get some money, get the fuck out.
Makes total sense.
Right on.
All right, Tyler, you're last.
So
definitely least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this pod opens up and you see I want to say older gentleman, but not like old. I'm thinking like late 40s, maybe early 50s. Kind of gaunt, little skinny. He's got like a short little mustaches, short little chin hair, but sides of his head are shaved. It's all blonde, like, but kind of like a lighter blonde, a little bit of gray.
Okay.
He steps out and he's wearing looks kind of like combat fatigues, and he pretty just stretches out, does a couple little stretches, stretch down, bends his toes, and then gets to work, grabs his gun and starts grabbing gear and like moving with a purpose.
Perfect.
Oh, by the way, his name is Einar.
Einar
Stellar.
God damn it.
Jeez.
You always find a way to make some sort of pun-ass name, and I appreciate it.
Well, about half the time. I get there.
All right, awesome. So we cut to the bridge of the ship, where we see Captain Ellen Dillon, who she sits in white overalls. She's checking the monitors to make sure that the systems are all running. She's kind of talking it over with Lambert, making sure everything's coming through. Slowly next to her, we see the pilot, Nash Hicks, sit down. He's got fluffy red hair that's kind of bouncing as he sits down. We see him start like clacking away at a keyboard, staring at a screen. Fuel supplies are at a good level. If they budget it right, y'all might be able to make it back to Hardlight Station without having to refuel. Pretty special. We hear him kind of drawl out, just, "Morning, Captain. Hope you slept well in the so comfortable accommodations that we have. I know I slept just like a baby." Ellen kind of cracks a half smile staring at him. "Morning, Nash. Can't say that it was an enjoyable rest, but I'm glad nothing on the ship is wonky. Lambert took good care of her, thankfully." You hear a kind of voice cut in through the speakers.
Of course I did, Captain. I would never do anything to harm any of you. You're my family.
Nash kind of looks around, just like, "That don't sound threatening at all." Nope. So we leave the bridge. There's a montage of faces, each going about their duties to make sure the ship is running as smoothly as possible. Slowly but surely, the ship is buzzing with life. We see you all gathering your equipment, double-checking it is in satisfactory condition, and prepping for your drop. We see a large metal box with Nakatomi Solutions painted on the side detach from your ship and drop down to the surface. We see the thrusters engage as it passes through the atmosphere and slowly guides itself down in a smooth descent. A small antenna rises up from the bottom of this basically refrigerator-sized box, and a red light begins to blink on top. Back on the ship, we hear Lambert's voice cut over the intercom.
Attention, crew! The automated deposit box has successfully made it to the surface of Tau Sigma 7. Surface team, please prepare your gear and meet Hudson in the bay for departure. Thank you, and remember that I love you.
One by one, we see you all arrive outside of a small ship. A man with olive skin, a trim black beard, and hair. Looks like he's kind of looking over the craft, double checking to make sure everything is ready to go for your trip down to the surface. He smiles at you as you all approach. Says, "Everything checks out. Let's get the show on the road, yeah? Do y'all have last things you want to do before you load into the small ship?"
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Miner just double checks his equipment again, make sure everything's strapped on.
I guess to go over some of the equipment that you guys probably don't have on there, they're going to give you guys, like, kind of spacesuits to have down there.
Okay, cool. I was actually going to ask that.
So, give yourself...
That makes sense. I had a question about that as well.
So a vac suit?
Yeah, let's go vac suit. So it's a basic vac suit. It's an armor point 3, if that matters.
Oh, okay.
It is heavy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, so just you all get one of those for free. They're emblazoned with the Nakatomi Solutions, or Nakatomi Corporation.
Any armor we have on our character sheet.
Bibbidi-bobbidi-boobidi what?
So is that going to be on top of any armor we had on the character sheet? Okay.
I don't know if they stack, but we'll say fuck it, they stack.
All right, cool. Just, I don't know, this thing didn't... He nicely printed my character sheet, but it doesn't have my trinkets, so I don't know if it printed
yeah, it like, you have to like click into it if you're using the app. So I don't know, you probably can't do that on the PDF.
Yeah. Oh well. Not like it matters anyway.
I was curious regarding equipment. So my character is a computer specialist, and I was wondering, would he have some kind of a portable computer, or let's say a smartphone? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he'd have like a portable computer. I think our technology level here probably isn't like super advanced, but it's probably a little bit clunky, but you'd have one. Sure. I'm cool with it.
Like retrofuturism kind of stuff?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, so you guys get all your gear set up, make sure everything's in working order, and we see you guys load up into the ship. You guys are the ground crew. You guys are being sent down to the surface to find this ore, bring it back up. So we see Hudson go through his pre-flight routine. Engines are engaged, switches are flipped, and he finally is given the okay to depart. This small vessel shakes as it exits the Pegasus and begins to drop onto Tau Sigma 7. You hear Hudson's voice come through the comm systems in your helmets because everything's kind of shaky. They're testing out the comm systems. It's just like, we have about 20 minutes until we touch down on that rock down there. I'm not sticking around to see you after you get off. Just radio back when you're done. I'll be down to snag you, okay? Any questions?
No, sir.
Perfect. Good. So we see the vessel jolt as you enter the atmosphere, kind of buck up with you guys. But thankfully, you're all buckled down. Otherwise, good chance you could have got a concussion there. Could have been thrown around. We hear the thrusters engage, and again, you slowly lower onto the planet. You land in a cloud of dust. Hudson comes back over your comms. Touchdown, everybody. Double check your gear. Let me know when to open the ramp. So we see just that. You all go over your gear. You check your oxygen level. Check the seals on your suits. Who gives them the okay?
I'll do it.
Perfect. So we have Algernon says...
Go for it.
And we see the ramp lower, and we watch as you all step out onto this alien landscape.
All right.
You cross the space between the ship and the ADB, which is the automated deposit box. And at that point, you kind of see, once you're kind of out of the area, we see the ship start to take back off, and you're left alone out here on Tau Sigma 7. You walk over to this deposit box, and you see there's a black screen with like green text, and there are several options. One option is scan. The other option is NM-109 details. And the third option is open deposit tray.
I'd love to hit that middle one, that NM-119 details.
Sure. So you push that button, you see like green text starts to like kind of spit across the lines. And essentially what you gather from all of this is that NM-109 is a rare metal of like burnt orange color, and it's primarily used in the manufacturing of battery cells.
Huh.
So it's, it's pretty rare. So that finding this is pretty good. Yeah, so that's what you like as it kind of spits out the information. And there's probably like a robotic voice that's just reading it to you, just like NM-109, burnt color, orange, color, burnt orange.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just going through like, I'm not going to do a whole robot voice, but
yeah, I think Algernon, after he's like reading this, and he's like, oh, it's that stuff.
Oh, you've seen this stuff before?
Yeah, it's all over the place. He's clearly
quick outside
doesn't
question.
know what he's talking about.
Who does anybody else have a gun?
I have a foam gun.
I'm afraid I'm not armed, but I do carry a stun baton. And he just grabs a stun baton and shows it with his big smile and his, vac suit helmet.
I have a nail gun.
A nail gun.
Yeah.
Well, Einar kind of hefts his pulse rifle up, and he's like, all right, let's keep our eyes peeled. Let's get out here, get in and out quick, make it back in time for lunch.
Works for
sounds
me.
good. Do you hit any other buttons on the screen, or are you guys just going to head towards the cavern entrance? You kind of see like a large like outcropping, and there looks like there's a hole.
Well, let's open up the box. Press the third button.
Okay. You hit the third button, third option, and you see this kind of larger tray appear from the bottom. Probably the size of like, would be a good thing, like a drawer that you open in your fridge, like one of like your vegetable drawer. Sure. So it's probably a good foot and a half wide by another foot and a half deep.
Okay.
Probably 7 inches tall for you to put these minerals into.
Okay.
So
we're not looking for much.
No.
Okay.
I mean, depending on how big the size sample is, but no.
Right.
Are we supposed to fill the entire tray?
No, it's just like a generic tray.
Just
So
a foot there, yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I think Calvin 5 would hit the scan button.
sure, absolutely, makes sense. So you all watch as the ADP kind of like lifts up slightly from its four legs, like you see these kind of extensions come up and it lifts up slightly, and then you watch as it slams down onto the ground, and this kind of crude scan of the area appears on the screen. It's like all green, pixelated, kind of garbagey.
Cool.
But you see down in the cavern deep below, you see the light blinking where this, like, it maps it out, so you see the entrance of the cavern. You see that the cavern kind of goes down pretty deep. There are several other caverns that pop out of it, and then kind of in the farthest point, there is this pinging light of where this mineral is. But yeah, so it also reveals that the entrance to the system is slightly ahead of you guys. You're not too far away. So do we...
We all ready to go?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, Einar will pull his rifle again. I imagine it's got a flashlight on it, and I'll go first. And you said there was a cavern entrance there?
Yeah.
Okay. Walk slowly into the cavern.
And you die.
All right, roll a new one.
Nah, just all right, so we see you guys enter into this cavern. Sounds like our good buddy Einar is going first.
Yes.
Okay, gun drawn out. There's a large outcropping. Like I said, you see a small opening. It looks like it's large enough for you guys to squeeze through single file. Like, it's pretty tight, but...
Is the entire cavern past that opening pretty tight, or is it just
like once you can see on the other side, it opens up.
Okay, got it.
And just for safety's sake, once we get into the cavern, I have a Geiger counter on my sheet. I'm just going to turn it on and
absolutely.
leave it
Makes
on.
Sense. Yep. Yeah, so you guys, I'm assuming maybe your suits have a temperature scan. And so as you kind of progress into the cave, it's slightly temperature starts to slowly rise, as you get inside. not super a whole ton, but maybe it goes from like, 72 degrees outside. Well, it's space, so it's probably like, well, there's the atmosphere. But it goes let's say it goes from like 62 to like 64. Nothing noticeable, but you get inside and it's a little bit warmer. And you immediately notice as you step through that eventually this small pathway opens up into it's like a large cavern, like almost like an atrium of sorts. Like it's all red stone inside of here, but it's not stone, if that makes sense. Like there's a little bit of give as you step onto it, and like if you touch some of the walls, it's not necessarily like it's firm.
Earthy?
There's some earthy like texture to it. Like you could definitely like flake some of it off, but there's like a little bit of give with each step that you take into here.
Interesting.
Huh.
Okay. That's creepy. I'll continue scanning around. Once we get into an open area, I want to, kind of look up and see how tall is this cavern?
Sure.
How deep is it? The open spaces. But I'm just scanning the whole thing, trying to keep an eye out.
It's as deep as your love.
Jesus.
So endless.
Endless. Yes. Yeah. So this cavern itself is pretty large. Like I said, you see there are there's like chambers and like archways that are kind of going here. There's loops. As you look, there is a pathway kind of along the outer edge, like a slow ramp that elevates that looks to lead up above you guys. In the center of this room, there is a shallow dome that's just kind of like there. It's like a tiny, in the middle of the room, there's a tiny little dome.
So it look like a feature of the ground?
Kind of, a little bit, yeah.
Does this whole area look natural, or is it man-made?
Looks like a little bit of both,
Interesting.
honestly.
Okay.
Like, it looks like some of the stuff here has been carved, but it also looks like they carved it out of the existing framework of this cavern, if that makes sense.
I think, thoughtlessly, Skip might, tap the dome with his foot and then just, move on.
Cool. If you walk up, you put your foot on the dome and, kind of kick it with your foot, you see that
not aggressively.
No, I know. Yeah, You tap it. There's a little film over the top, and when you do that, the film opens up, and there's a hole in the middle of this dome.
Oh,
and you look in, and you see that there are it looks like rows of spikes inside of it.
Oh,
I'll say, hey, fellas.
The hole in the middle is about fist size. You couldn't get, you're not fitting through there yourself.
Oh.
But you can also see, around the outside of the dome. It's probably, the dome itself is maybe, 4 feet in diameter. But the center of it, there's this tiny, you can walk onto it. It's still solid.
Right.
But the center where this tiny little thing is, when you kick it, it
Oh,
opens
I
up,
see.
and there's, kind of a row of teeth. It looks like almost spikes, teeth in the center of it.
I'm going to call everybody's attention to it and just make sure we're aware.
I walk on over to it that doesn't look good. Step back away from it.
I ain't
I'm
gotta
supposed to
tell
keep
me
you boys
twice.
safe.
I recommend we keep our vac suits.
No, definitely.
well, yeah, of
Good
course.
idea.
But yeah, that the only way down that you can see from here is this dome. But you can definitely follow up and take a look and see if there's another entrance.
So you mentioned that the remote deposit thing did, when it did a scan, it showed a map.
We could even say maybe you're able to Taylor Algernon was able to download it off of the computer, so you have it or something like that.
Okay.
I think that fits. You brought a computer, that makes sense that you would have it.
That's
An
cool.
elite cable.
So, but it even in the scan we did, that looks to be the only way down.
Like a 3D projection of the map.
Yeah.
That's tight.
And you see that, there's definitely the pathway up above, that big ramp that gradually increases in its steepness, looks to lead up above. There is a small, chamber up above from the map that you're looking at, that you see, looking at, but nothing too crazy.
I think
those are the only real things that stand out as you, look at this primitive map.
I think it's worth taking a look up there before we make any attempts with this.
Sure.
I'll slowly walk my way up that ramp.
Is everybody else going, or is anybody staying behind?
Yeah, I'll follow.
Carefully following behind, yep.
Yeah, he seems safe.
Cool. Okay. So we see you all, and the only light you have is from your vac suits and this gun. It is completely pitch black in here.
I have a chem light, would that help? I don't know what that is.
I believe that would.
It's like a chemical light, I'm assuming?
Yeah, like a big
Like a glow stick?
glow stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll crack one.
Okay.
So we can have some light.
Maybe you like leave them as a trail, so you have multiples of them.
I only have 5, so I'll probably crack it and put it like on like my belt strap.
Cool, perfect. And I think like you guys see through this light ahead of you, like you can see the particles of dust in the air. There's no footsteps, there's no nothing here showing other people have been here, so it's just like you guys. And I mean, it's space. We're not in space again. We're on a planet, but like you have helmets on, so you're not really hearing a whole lot of echoes. Maybe you have like exterior comms, like you all have comms that you can talk through your.
Yeah, the vac suits have
vac
short
suits?
range comms.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But I think everything else is just kind of all you hear is just your breath as you're taking these steps, and maybe like a little bit of crunch of dirt, like if you hear it loud enough, like sometimes that would come
the world is muffled.
Muffled, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see you guys climb this ramp, and it rises up a decent amount. And eventually, you're following these kind of pathways, and you're seeing that there are like tinier holes that lead out to the actual surface, and they seem to be going further up into this kind of mountain range, like a larger hill. I guess would probably be the proper term that you guys were a part of.
Okay.
And eventually, you arrive at this kind of chamber. But the only way that you see to get into this chamber is you can look through it. There's like a tiny hole, maybe the size of like your head. And that's the only thing that you can see to get into this chamber.
Poking my head, or like trying to get the vac suit lights in there.
Yeah.
Do I see any?
It's large enough to fit several people. And the main things that stand out to you is that there is this bulbous growth of like kind of, it looks like plastic, like bioorganic plastic, if that makes sense.
Huh.
Like it's got a sheen to it, and it is affixed to the far wall, and it's like faintly pulsing with this red light from inside. But that's the only thing that you can see in this room. You don't know how to get into it, so like you'll either have to like
if I
break through
try
this wall.
to, if I take my hand and like try to reach inside the
Nothing happens.
the hole, no, I'm thinking like try to scrape some dirt out
Sure.
of the way. Can I make the hole any bigger?
Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit, but
it just a possibility.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like you're able to fleck away a little bit of it and start digging through.
Well, do we want to check in there or?
Sure, I guess.
Well,
What were you gonna say, Jake?
no, I'm down.
Okay. I don't think there's no real apparent. You guys just start digging. Takes you guys probably maybe, I'd say maybe takes you guys like an hour to get through it because it's not super, but like it's crowded, right?
Make a
Like,
big
you guys
enough
gotta get
hole
a
for
system.
a person.
Yeah. Maybe you guys have maybe Jake, you have some tools or anything, or you guys can figure out a way to get this going.
I do have
Cracking dirt with the butt of my
tools.
rifle.
Yep.
Yeah. So we see you guys finally get through, and you're able to get into this chamber, like I said. And there is like I said, this weird bioplastic, like, it's a growth essentially off the wall. It looks like there's almost like a receptacle that it sits in, and there's a long tube connected to an end, kind of like a hose.
Anybody ever seen anything like this?
I'm afraid not.
Is that something we would... Could we, like, roll on it somehow? Or, like, intellect?
Sure. Yeah, what do you think would be a... Yeah, I think intellect. Do you have any skills that you think would be a good fit for it?
No, not in this case.
Yeah, so yeah, give me that intellect.
All right, so I'm trying to roll under my skill, right? And in this case, my
Yes.
skill is 48, so I've got almost a 50-50 shot.
Well, not bad.
Let's see what we can do. That is an 11.
Oh,
Ooh, that's a crit.
And that's...
yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
so doubles on the die are crits in this game, just like Delta Green, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. Yeah. You are for sure, like, you're kind of thinking of this, like, you're racking your brain, trying to figure this out. And to you, it looks like it's some sort of dispenser, but you don't know what it's from.
Could you
But,
describe what it looks like again?
Yeah, so it's essentially, it's like this big black bulbous growth on the
Yeah,
wall.
it's plastic
Think of like
looking.
maybe like the size of like a urinal.
Okay.
and there's a tube kind of coming off the top of it that's connected to like a almost like a nozzle of sorts, and it's like faintly glowing this red color, like it's faintly pulsing.
The
red.
tube is.
Yes.
Okay.
The tube with the growth.
The tube like from the growth.
Gotcha.
And it looks like the tube goes further into like the growth itself. Like it's not just it's definitely connected to it.
Okay.
And the only way to this this mineral is down in that dome down there.
Mm-hmm.
We might try to see if we can maybe do some damage to those spikes. Try to dig a small tunnel into that existing tunnel that we can see on the map.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Does anybody want to get closer to this thing and investigate it, or are you just gonna?
I mean, the player Tyler would love to do it, but I'm feeling that'd be bad.
No.
But also, my guy's not very smart.
And you are a Marine.
Yeah.
So you're brave.
Mhm.
I mean, that is true. I mean, he does kind of want to touch it. Sure. I mean, so who like kind of sussed it out a little bit? Some kind of dispenser?
Algernon did.
Algernon did?
And it's not something he's ever seen before, right?
No, he's never seen this.
But he just kind of sussed it, just kind of.
And he would explain that too.
This.
I think this is some kind of dispenser.
Huh. Well, yeah. Let me take a look. If it's a dispenser, it's got to be. What does it dispense? And he kind of goes up, and he's gonna just kind of put his hand on the mass, whatever the bulb thing is. Just kind of feel what it feels like at first.
It feels like spongy.
And then grab onto that tube to kind of take a better look at it.
So you grab onto the hose. You grab onto the like hose, this outgrowth, and you kind of pull it away, and it gives. Like you're able to pull it pretty. Like it doesn't. There's no resistance as you pull.
And I pull back further.
It keeps going.
Oh.
And you notice there's like a red liquid dripping out the end, like slowly. Like a tiny little, like a faucet leak, just like red drips every so often as you're pulling on this thing.
You said, Skip, you said that thing down there looked like teeth?
Yeah, I would say so, Hoss, yeah.
Well, what do you think, boys? Might be hungry? Can I drag that all the way out?
Yeah, you can. You get onto the hallway, there's no resistance whatsoever.
Weird.
Sweet. Well,
Sure.
All right, okay, yeah.
Maybe that's how we open it up.
So I imagine I'm grabbing it with one hand, but as I kind of get to the ramp again, I turn back like, okay, when do you grab this? Well, I can hold my gun real quick just in case.
Of course.
He just feels safer like lighting ahead of him with the gun.
So it sounds like Calvin's going to be the one handling it?
Calvin goes to grab it. As, like, carrying this weird-ass tube, the ferret is in the suit.
Nice.
Right? And apparently, I rolled for its stats. It's got an instinct of 50. Is the ferret freaking out?
Oh, that's a good. Roll for the ferret.
Okay, roll for ferret.
Roll for ferret.
Yeah, give me a ferret check.
Ferret check. That's a success. It's 29 under 50.
Hey. Nice.
I think it's definitely uneasy. I think it's maybe just kind of like it's. I don't know why, but I imagine this ferret in like its own little ferret spacesuit, and I know that's not fair to it, but yeah, I think you definitely like. I don't know if it's in your helmet.
It's in the helmet,
or where it's at. Yeah, I think it's just kind of like looking at the thing, kind of like its eyes are drawn to it. It's like kind of like getting low, almost like it's like trying to avoid a predator or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely seems uneasy with that roll.
Not to alarm any of you, but my ferret seems quite displeased with this tube.
Yeah, but it's a ferret.
I can't say I blame it.
What does that matter?
It is indeed a ferret. He just keeps walking.
Do you? Okay, so
androids.
Yeah, Algernon rolls his eyes.
So, what's your plan with this hose there, Mr. Calvin? You gonna put it in the hole?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just seeing if it seems if
Sure.
it seems made for this, or if it makes any sense.
Is this its hole?
Is it? Is this where it belongs?
You walk over to this thing, and maybe you like kick it again, and you see the kind of flap open up. You stick this nozzle into this hole, and the teeth like instantly clench around it. And then you see like the tube kind of like shift a little bit, and then like the teeth open, and the whole thing starts to open up and get wider and wider, like to the point like you have to like scurry back as it reaches the end of where this kind of outer ring of this dome is. And there is a small pathway leading down.
Good job, boys.
It kind of looks around like, this is nasty. Well, into the mall.
Let's do it.
I'll take point again and kind of aim my light from the rifle. And is this, what kind of a pathway are we?
It's like
at?
goes around the edge. It's like a cylinder path down the edge of this like shaft.
Gotcha.
And you can see very far down at the bottom there is like a faint red light glowing, like a pulsing red light, similar to what you saw in the bioluminescent or the bioplastic. So we see you guys descend into this cave shaft. And as you walk along, your lights all pick up the same thing. The walls of this, like, shaft are painted in this red substance. And you see, like, it kind of follows the path all the way down as you're walking. And it's these humanoid figures and these little tiny, smaller tentacle creatures, like marching down, and like you're like taking the same path as them. And as you kind of get towards the bottom, you see them like holding up this like burnt orange rock. Like it's like kind of like red with like a little bit of black mixed in, but they're holding up this rock as like in triumph that they found something like at the very bottom of this cavern. And
I like that.
Like they might be illustrating their own walk down
yes,
here.
Exactly. Yes.
I would want to, as we kind of first see this, like kind of just try to touch it and see if I can wipe like paint or whatever it is, or see what it might be.
Just dry.
Okay. Then continue downward.
I have a +10 in rim wise. Can I try to roll to see if this is a part of any like normal rim colony custom or anything?
Yeah, go for it.
And so a +10 is I'm just adding 10 to my intellect.
I would assume, yeah, if you're going to roll with intellect, yeah. So
Okay.
you'd have what's your intellect score?
40.
So you have you got to roll against a 50.
Fail 93.
Yeah.
No,
Not
clue.
that you've heard of.
Take one stress.
Take a stress.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
Now it begins. So you guys, yeah, this shaft is a long walk. It is, like I said, it's like as you guys are getting deeper and deeper, the temperature is starting to rise. So you've gone from maybe like when you were up top, it was 64. Now it's maybe like 69, 70 as you get down this far.
Dang.
And like I said, there's all of these cave paintings essentially along the shaft, kind of mirroring your image, like your path, your descent. And at the bottom, you guys essentially see like it sprouts off in a couple different paths. So there is a pathway kind of off to the right. There's a pathway directly ahead of you guys. And then there's a pathway off to the left as well.
Can I, just because I want to roll something, let me see if this is like this. I would like to argue that I roll intellect because no, you said we have the maps with us, actually.
Yeah,
So are these paths all on the map?
they are.
Okay. I was going to say if I remember the map, but if we have it with us.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Algernon could bring up his computer, just clickety clack.
Yep.
Algernon, which way?
Algernon, looking at your computer, you can either go to the right or you can go straight.
They like loop around back on itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially. Yeah.
Does the computer show any other information about what we might see, or just the path?
Nope. Just the path.
Okay.
You see that the pathway to the right, it looks like the pathway eventually opens up into a larger room, and then off of that room is a smaller area where this mineral's picked up
Okay.
at.
Yeah, so Algernon's got his portable computer out, and he's just like looking down at it, and you ask, and he, without looking up, he just points It was to the right, right?
Yes, to the right.
Okay. Yeah, so he points to the right. It's that one.
Excellent. I would start looking that way. But Chris, do you say there was something glowing red at the bottom of this?
Like all three of these passageways, I have like a faint glowing red from them.
They were what we saw glowing red. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll poke my head around the corner into the right pathway, aim my gun, and see what I see.
You see a pathway that leads further down into, like, it's sloped downwards, and you eventually, it kind of bends off to the left. And as you follow that pathway down, it opens up into a large, hot and humid chamber. You see that this similar material to what you saw up above with the hose covers the walls in here.
Like the black stuff?
Yes, and the floor looks like an oil spill.
Oh, okay.
You see there are like these small tanks that like of this red liquid that it looks similar to the liquid that was dripping out of the end of the hose that are it looks like they're grown from the ground. Like nothing's put here. Like these are just like natural.
It's not like the one you described. It looks like it was in like a slot in the wall. This looks like it's part of the ground.
So these are like, imagine these almost like stalactites, or those tight to ceiling. Stalagmites are the ones on the grounds. Those like, imagine stalagmites that are like grown of this black substance, and in the middle there is like this like liquid inside of them. There's like some sort of coating that's keeping this liquid in. But yeah, there's just a ton of these lining like all throughout the space. Like they're all almost like popping up, like I said, stalagmites all over in here.
Huh.
And they are very like glowing at irregular patterns. Like it's not all synced together.
So it's just like what we saw upstairs.
Yeah. It looks like there are looks like something is floating in each of these pods each of these things as well.
More like what kind of something?
Some sort of. You gonna get closer?
I mean, I'll definitely peek into one.
Sure. You gonna get down like face level?
There you go. No, I stay as far away face level as possible. I'm trying to not do what was it, Alien? Prometheus.
Yeah, right.
Where they meet alien life, and the first thing you do is they take their helmet off.
Yeah.
Try to poke at it.
So you definitely see in a lot of these pods are these small octopus-like creatures. Similar to the tentacled creatures that you saw on the things outside.
Okay.
They look to be about like a foot in length, so they're not super big.
That's pretty big.
That's a hefty, at least kind of hefty.
That's bigger than I want.
Right, exactly.
It's too big. Yep.
Touche. Yeah. But yeah, these things are kind of floating in these. Yeah, just like I said, like there's just these weird, like they're just kind of floating in these stasis pods almost.
Chris, here's a quick question, which maybe I should know. In the world of Mothership, is alien life like well known?
I think so.
Okay, so like I'm just trying to see how surprised I would be to see what is clearly alien life.
I think it would be like, shit, like you weren't expecting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So were we expecting this planet
aliens
to have any life on it at all? Did we know? Did we get a brief on? Because you said it was barren.
You were told there's just this mineral. That's what you guys were told.
Yeah, interesting.
And I know it's just the fiction that we are creating right now,
Sure.
but is that typical of our company to not really give us the full story?
Yeah, that's pretty like corporate bullshit. Like,
Okay.
You're sitting here for this. Oh, we didn't know that was going to happen. Our bad.
Okay.
Yeah, here's an extra 100 credits. Thanks for doing it, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Like kind of looking at these things, is like thought I got out of the military to have this crap. People not telling me what I'm getting into. Okay.
You all notice
away from these
a
things.
larger one of these tanks that is full of this red liquid, and you can see there's a human floating in it.
Uh-oh.
Long dead. But it looks like they've been kind of preserved in this liquid.
Oh, God.
And it looks like It's tough to see because like all the liquid is around them, but like there's blood coming out of their eyes. Like it looks like it's like caked onto their face, like they were like like stigmatted almost.
Tears of blood.
Tears of blood. Like their whole mouth is all super red and like covered. Their body looks like it's like kind of broken out in like hives or rashes. So it doesn't look like it looks like they didn't die of a peaceful death.
Oh, I shine my light at it. Yeah, exactly. That's looking pretty grim. This is great. All right, keep away from these things. Keep your hands to yourself. Tell me if you see anything else weird. And I'm looking around to see is there any other weird little surprises in this room.
There is a weird little surprise in this room. I'm glad you asked. You see that one of these tanks is cracked open. Glass is shattered, and there's a thin trail of this red liquid leading away.
Was there? I should have asked. There was another exit to this room.
Yeah,
I'm
I
guessing.
think keeps going.
Let's take it.
It keeps going. Eventually, yeah. There's like another exit that leads down to essentially where you guys need to go. There's like
let me guess. That's where this trail is leading.
It's kind of like leading off in the direction that way. Yeah. How'd you know?
And it looks like one of the pods that one of these octopus things would have been in.
It looks like one of these things is shattered.
Okay.
And you see like a thin trail of like whatever this red liquid is kind of on the ground.
Right.
And Skip will like get down on a knee. Is it like dried up?
It's not super dry. Like, but yeah, like when you rub into the dirt, like you pull up and there's definitely some on your glove.
And it's not blood, is it?
You don't know.
Well, I'm gonna okay, fair game. I keep forgetting I have a helmet on.
You're gonna say lick it?
Yeah, well, I was gonna like do the thing where he rubs it on his fingers and he smells it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
he can. Okay, I mean, even just looking into the tank of red stuff.
Yeah,
does it look like blood?
It looks like blood. Yeah.
And how?
Okay.
There's a human in one of the tanks. Was it forcibly put there? Is
it wearing clothes?
Right.
It doesn't look like it's like underwear on. Unless we want to go full R and that's nude. I'm fine with that.
That's an audio medium.
I was more thinking see if it had the the logo of Nakatomi Solutions on
Right.
it.
No, you don't see that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
The tag on his boxers says NS.
This poor sap came before us.
Yeah, but you see that the blood in here, there's like a trail leading off towards the direction you guys need to go.
Is it is there any way that we could do some kind of a test on the substance to find out, like, for instance, if it is blood?
I would think so. What do you think your character would do? I'm assuming intelligence base plus,
so
what skill you thinking?
I have computers, artificial intelligence, and hacking, and theology. So I would think maybe computers, or if I have
Hack the blood, computer boy.
I have a system that I could use an AI with to identify it somehow, that kind of thing.
I'm trying to think. Do you think your computer would have like a sample area to put a blood sample into?
I'm gonna say
Spectrometer
yes.
or something.
Sure, then let's go with it.
Okay.
Why not?
Nice.
All right. So my artificial intelligence is plus 20, and I just add the 1, right? I don't also add computers.
No, yeah, you would just add probably artificial intelligence to your.
Perfect. So that's gonna be a 68. Is my goal, and I got what is that? 0, 0, and 1.
Ooh, dang, that's a 1. Yeah, so you start to, you run the sample, you're going through, and there's definitely, blood in this.
Okay.
It is definitely a blood of some creature. The thing that you are getting, it doesn't match anything, biological that you've ever come across. There's no, it runs, there's nothing here it could tie it against, but it's definitely the makeup of it. There's a lot of iron in it. Leads you to believe, it is probably some sort of blood-like substance, but you don't know what it is.
Okay. So Algernon will say, as he's running the sample and stuff, just kind of apathetically, still looking at his computer, he just goes, "This is blood, by the way."
Ah.
Oh god, that's just great.
Well, to make it better, it's not blood that I recognize. So,
well, it's even better. Yeah, that is good. Thank you for that.
Algernon, do you have flasks or any recipient for you to bring this back to the ship?
Would I? That's not something that's on my equipment, but I've got a first aid kit. Oh, and I've got pills, so maybe I have like a pill bottle or something we could put it in?
Yeah, sure, I think that works. You guys could, I would say the first aid kit might have something.
Cool, yeah, I'll pull something out.
Like maybe it would have like a syringe, you could squirt the stuff out and then
sure
take a sample of this.
I do the thing.
Yeah, so it's hot in this room.
Very good.
Okay.
All sorts of flashing red lights. You have a human figure inside of one of these larger stasis, and it looks like one of these creatures is gotten out.
So, a real quick point of clarification, because you mentioned, like, you said flashing lights, and you mentioned earlier glowing, like with the hose and stuff.
Sorry, the glowing is coming from these pods. Like this flashing red light is like this glow from these pods.
Is it?
Sorry.
No, yeah, no worries. Is it the liquid itself that seems to be glowing?
Yes, it does.
Interesting.
So does the trail glow?
No, the trail does not glow.
Okay.
Huh.
So,
okay.
Well,
I think we gotta follow it.
yeah, unfortunately, Skip, I think you're right.
I concur.
And I'll, once again, raise my rifle and kind of peek around the corner first and see what I can see down this hallway, or I'm guessing esophagus.
Well, you can rest assured whatever it is, it's not human, so don't feel too bad about shooting at it.
Yeah. Oh, I won't. Don't worry.
you see there is a... Oh, man, what do we want to call this bad boy? A domed door that kind of resembles the hatch that you guys got to go down here.
Okay.
It kind of ends, one of these ends, like there's a hole in the center of it, and it ends there. So whatever this pathway leads to, it's a door to get to the other side.
And the trail goes through this?
The trail looks to go through, yeah.
Does it go, like, to the bottom of this dome? Or does it maybe?
I mean, it looks like it probably kind of goes up to the middle of it.
Okay. So I want to go over and kind of run my hand across the dome, see what happens.
So the kind of the middle of it opens, like that kind of skin flap opens up, and you see there's rows of teeth.
Okay. Anybody got another hose? Was there one back there?
There wasn't that you saw.
Let me try something real quick. And I'm going to pull out that like vial where I put some of this liquid and just dash a little bit onto like the teeth.
Sure. And as soon as you do that, this maw just kind of opens up.
Nice.
And you see there is a chamber kind of on the other side of this, like a small alcove. And you see there is a chest kind of there, like an open container. There's like a container sitting there. And then there's a small tunnel that looks like it's burrowed off to the left-hand side. Like you'd have to crawl on hands and knees to get through.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an open chest?
Mm-hmm. There's a chest, like a container.
Like a box.
Like a storage container.
That
like
maybe doesn't match any of the...
No, sure doesn't.
Okay.
Interesting.
Aim my flashlight at it and turn around to anybody behind me or next to me with this. You know, hey, what do you want to bet this belonged to the guy in the tank in there?
Mm-hmm. Good questions.
And there's nothing in the container?
There is.
Oh, okay. I'm peeking in.
You shine your flashlight.
Yeah.
You see that there are nuggets of some sort of burnt orange material. There is a clutch of like fist size of these like black kind of like plasticky substance blobs.
Ew.
And as you look, like you can see they like jiggle at points as if something's moving inside of them. There is a curved black barb with a tiny opening at the end of it, like a hook tip with an
Maybe
opening.
a stinger?
Kind of, yeah. And lastly, there is some sort of rod. Looks like it's made of that same like black plastic.
Okay.
You know, it's probably like the size, maybe of like a screwdriver.
So, Chris, remind me, did we, in our briefing from Nakatomi Solutions, did they give us a quota?
Nope, they just said get the ore, bring it up.
So I would reach in and grab one of these burnt orange rocks.
Okay.
Turn back to Algernon's computer and be like, is this what we're looking for?
He'll look it over. And I don't know that he'd be able to like scan it from here, like mineral stuff like that.
You saw the photos up above, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what you're looking
so
for.
he'd say, "Yep, that's the stuff."
How many nuggets do we got here?
Oh, let's do a D100
I mean,
roll.
basically, the reason I'm asking is like he's getting a little uneasy with all these weird mouths and stuff,
Right.
and with that tunnel you described, I don't want to go down that tunnel.
Sure.
So he's like, "Well, this is
Mission
it.
accomplished.
Let's hightail it out of here."
Yeah, it looks like there is about like 15 pieces all total.
Oh, okay.
So, do you guys have something to put them in? Did you guys bring anything to stack all this stuff into?
I imagine we would, if this was our mission, I imagine we would probably have, I'm imagining like, what's the word? Pockets? I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Pouches on
Sure.
our vac
Yep.
suits.
Sure,
just
so you're all
kinda-
just shoving stuff in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Split them up between all four of us, maybe?
Yes.
Are you going to take the other items, or are you going to leave those there?
My gut instinct is leave it here. But I wouldn't stop anybody if they tried to take any.
I'm really intrigued by this rod.
Okay. Good. You pick it up. It doesn't have a whole lot of weight to it, but it's definitely it feels good. Like it's got a nice feel to your hand.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So yeah,
Some good heft.
he'll hold it
So-
up and say, like, "Does anybody know what this could be?"
Man, I don't know. It's some kind of alien rod. Just be careful with it, whatever you do.
Yeah, okay.
Does the stinger look like it's attached to anything, or is it just like a dead?
No, it's just like
broken off?
a dead, like a curved barb. Yeah, it's weird.
I'll take that for a souvenir.
Okay. You take
Yep,
that?
I'll
Cool.
also take one.
Okay. There's only one there, but you want to take those like fist-sized blobs
Oh,
that move?
yeah.
Okay, cool. So we see. Do you guys just want to take this chest and like have someone carry it, or are you going to put those in your pockets?
How heavy is it?
I mean, it'd probably take two people to carry it with all these nuggets and everything.
I'll carry it with Calvin.
Yeah, sure. Calvin is
Sure.
going to grab one
Okay,
side.
cool. So we see you guys get all this loaded up.
So do we, just to be clear, so we know who's got what?
You have a gun.
I have my gun, but I mean, did we all kind of pocket all the orange on ourselves, and are we putting all the weird stuff back in the chest?
I would-
or are we putting everything back in the
I would
chest?
keep the orange rocks on us.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's a
And
good
the
idea.
funky, gooey stuff in the chest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think Einer would even say that, like, okay, we can take that thing, but I'm not carrying it. Two of you have to be responsible for that. Just make sure you don't drop these rocks.
Of course.
No, absolutely. So you guys turn around, go back the way you came, get back into that room with the stasis pods. Quick roll here.
Who's carrying it?
Calvin and
Skip.
Calvin, Skip.
Let's get, yeah.
Skip. You guys begin to make your way into this hatch, like back into this room with all of these red, like cylinders
Into this
with
odd
these floating
hatchery, it
creatures.
might be.
You had the trail of blood kind of leading off the way you guys came. If you look, the trail of blood kind of went back through the opening, like that little tiny little crawl space.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to ask. So it went in
Yeah.
the crawl space you described. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as you guys are getting through this room, one of these things kind of like hits the side of its case as you're walking by and causes the whole thing to like spill onto the ground. And this tiny 1 foot like octopus thing rears up at you guys, and it has like this lamprey mouth on the underside. And if you could hear it, it looked like it would be screaming something, but you can't hear anything because you're in space. You don't have exteriors, but like this thing is like frantically like rushing towards Algernon.
Oh,
I will aim my rifle and fire.
Cool. I think we'll do that next session. So.
Oh.